Ladies, gentlemen, Barry Burtons, welcome to Videogaiden. My name's Rab Florence.
Aye, true, but my name's Ryan McLeod.
I know, weird that, isn't it? You'd think they would have picked the same name.
I'm surprised we can afford different names.
Oh, yeah, we better get a move on now.
All right. Oh, look, it's Balmerland Postman with the reader's letters.
What kind of postman rings your doorbell and then just walks right into your house?
The kind of postman that's got a bomb of sausages strapped to his chest.
Oh, no.
Only kidding. It's just a bomb of sausages made of sausages.
That joke was super, Bomberman Postman. I'll sort through these, right?
And I'll just eat some sausages. Away you and have a review to yourselves, eh, boys?
Gaiden.
Ice hockey games never get much decent coverage in the British games press. Rarely more than a wee cursory glance in its direction. Now, the reason for that is it's an American sport. And if there's anything the British enjoy being snide about, it's American sports. Even though our own sport, football, is full of crybabies, cheats, and worse, the French. And that's just... Ice hockey has always made for excellent video games. It's fast-paced, exciting, physical, and yet we're all loved up in football games out here, when most of those are, let's be Lampard, intolerable crap. We've got it all arse backwards. I can't stand us. Now, I've been lucky enough to be playing both NHL 2K7 and EA's NHL 07 on the Xbox 360. And it was always going to be a dual review, really, folks, because chances were both games were going to play a decent game of ice hockey. So, the big question on everybody's lips is, should you wipe for the front to the back or the back to the front? And also, should you buy NHL 2K7 or NHL 07? EA's NHL 07 has taken a new approach to the ice hockey game. Movement on one analogue stick, stick control on the other analogue stick. Exciting, eh? NHL 2K7 is much the same as always. No as sharp with the presentation, traditional controls, but solid as all hell and plenty deep. Now, for my entire sorry life, I've been a big fan of the 2K series of ice hockey games. But I'm a smart cookie. I've always known there's been a big problem with them. And that problem is an over-reliance on the one-timer. Now, for those of you who aren't au fait with the greatest bloody team sport on earth, a one-timer is when you crack off a shot right after receiving the pass. Just like that. And the 2K games have always leaned on this too much. In the real NHL, 90% of the goals don't come from one-timers or slap shots. 2K7 still, unbelievably, has this problem. It doesn't make it any less fun as a game, but it makes it feel less real and a tad cheap.
The neutral zone.
Oh! You know, the biggest change the EA's new stick system makes is that it lets you score points for more realistic positions on the ice. Most of my goals were coming for simple wee wrist shots for close quarters. And when I did score a slap shot, oh, such a satisfying feeling. Satisfying because you earn it. Everything coming for your stick comes for your stick. It's no easy to pick up at all, and you do feel like you're having to relearn how to play a hockey game, but once you click with a stick, the change borders on revolutionary. You know, readers, the question is a new control system enough? Well, in EA's case, it's going to have to be, isn't it? Because in typical EA fashion, everything's stripped right down to the basics. You've got your Dynasty mode you can play through 10 years with your team, you've got a bit of tournament stuff, and you've got your bare bones online action. And that is it. That's it. It is entirely that. 2K7, on the other hand, gives you everything. More modes than you can shake a stick at, more depth than you can reasonably ask for, and yet all built around what is essentially the same game we've been playing for the last few years. Man, choosing a winner for these two is going to be pretty tough. So why don't we have a wee listen to some sounds for EA's game while I take a wee skate and think about it.
Edmonton's first shooter, second round, ready to rock. What a move here in the shootout for the goaltender.
Right, I've thought about it. You know what? EA's new control system is enough. And I'll tell you why, folks. Because change is always good. And when that change means that you feel like you've got more control, that you're crafting these goals yourself, that it's all about you, then that change means a ching-ching, dollar. EA's NHL 07 is bugged, it's riddled with failings, and it's a very slender package, much like my own actually. But the hockey feels fresh and new. It's maybe a wee glimpse at sports games of the future. I think it's pucking brilliant. Am I allowed to say pucking, Mr. BBC, aye?
Gaiden.
Listen to this. Dear Rab, I'd love to micromanage your private parts. Love, Peter Molyneux. That's nice, isn't it? Dear Ryan, in for your bath. Love, your ma. It's nice, isn't it?
Rab, I think there's something wrong with Gaiden, man. He's not touching his space raiders.
Oh, what have I told you about feeding him the good stuff? We're on a BBC budget here.
Look at him, he's not well.
Gaiden.
He'll be pining for a mate, that's what it is. We'll need to find him a female for him to breed his cell right into.
Is that what you need, son? Do you need a girlfriend?
Gaiden.
Oh, look, I'll mate with him if it'll shut him up.
Well, here, the ladies and gentlemen don't need to see that. I'll show them something else while you're at it.
Get your glasses off, son.
Gaiden.
Well, first of all, thanks for buying the Videogaiden DVD. Thanks for listening to the commentary.
Hello.
Oh, there I am.
Sorry, I'll introduce you. I'm Robert Florence. I should go first, really.
Yeah.
And Ryan.
Ryan McLeod.
Yeah, and we've got Nige here.
Hi guys.
Nice to see you, Nigel. Nice to
all
see
this
you.
time.
I know, 10 years, it seems. It's incredible. It's incredible to think we used to do games TV, actually.
I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, but you know,
Well,
it seems a bit silly compared to
I mean,
what
it's
It's of its time. It's of its time.
It's
isn't
all
it?
its time,
Yeah,
I think. I think that's
yeah.
exactly what it was. What this was, we were doing a sequence here on Brain Training, which was a Nintendo DS, I think it was at the time, DS game. It was a kind of handheld thing.
Before the troubles on
You're
Nintendo.
brilliant here, Nige, by the way, don't mind me saying.
Very good performance.
Completely out of character for me because I'm nothing like that, as you know.
No, absolutely nothing. You don't even wear glasses, do you?
No,
I'm a sweet
incredible
man.
stuff, really incredible. But this was really a phenomenon. This game
It was,
back in the time.
very popular.
It got a lot of people into gaming that weren't ordinarily into gaming, and yet the game was crap.
But
And
I got to say, you are gamers, and so what's wrong with it then? What's wrong with the game?
Well, listen.
Well, it was a long time ago, but
I can remember the problem. You see, people were saying it was all inclusive and that it was a great game and it was bad science. They were saying it improved your brain, but you just learned stuff by rote. It was a trick. It was a non-game. I hated it. Yeah. And I can remember. Look, do you remember the reaction on the internet to this sequence when it went out? You'll remember it, Nigel. I don't think you worked for years after this, did you? I mean, you never worked for years after this.
This tainted me, this did.
I mean, a lot of the viewers thought that it wasn't really about games, it was self-indulgent.
They just couldn't follow it. You know, back then, this is BBC Two. You know, we were young. We experimented a lot.
Yeah, that's right. This is before the jump to Channel 4, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was ahead of its time.
The thing is, you were hungry, weren't you, at the time?
Oh, very hungry, aye, very hungry indeed. I actually had a really bad drug habit at the time.
Were you hungry for life or just food?
Hungry for...
Look how thin you are.
It's the eternal question, really, isn't
Oh,
it?
that still makes me gag to see that scene now.
That's
I remember that well, actually, seeing that
And
image
that
of you
bit as well.
vomiting. That would happen quite a lot.
The
back then.
parallels we were trying to draw here was that torture was the only way that a true gamer could get, because that's what we considered ourselves back then, true gamers, if you can believe that. I know, it's embarrassing. It's the only way we could really get a challenge from something like Brain Training, because to people like us, it was learning.
I can see what you're saying. You had to ramp it up because the game just wasn't challenging enough.
You know, it was a piece of nothing. It was a piece of fluff. Again, a big backlash against us on the internet among the viewers, but it was a very unsophisticated gaming audience back then. They'd been used to years of crap, Nige, you know.
Yeah.
But this is incredible,
That's
this
a good
performance here.
performance.
This is really good.
That's proper acting,
That's acting, and this is what people didn't appreciate at the time, I
You
don't
were
think.
quite
I mean, that's
smart.
bloody acting there. That's acting. Now watch.
And there's even more acting coming up
I'm
here.
going to fall off the bloody stool in a minute.
Oh, that's acting. That's real acting.
Gaiden.
Okay, let's sort this out first. Is it Lumines or Lumines?
It's Luminous.
Like, here's the thing. They're charging 30 notes for this, and yet it's much the same as the first one.
That really rips, man. I've not played the first one right enough because I've still not got a PSP.
Oh, shush, nobody's got a PSP. You know what the big selling point of this sequel is? The Black Eyed Peas.
What is that? A game mode or something?
No, it's a hip-hop R&B combo that Americans and dicks like. There's also some Gwen Stefani in there if you so desire.
Good grief, this sounds like the worst selection of music in a game ever. At least the music's no integral to the game, though.
What are you talking about? This is Lumines. Lumines. It's all about music, and it's a brilliant game. Even this sequel is brilliant. But no if you've got the first one already. This is just the first one again with some chaff added to the wheat.
Aye, still tell you what, it looks beautiful.
Look, Elton John looks beautiful, but you wouldn't sleep with him, would you, for 30 quid?
Well, let's not be hasty. Am I giving him it, or is he giving me it?
I hope you mean the money.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to pay our last respects to the dear departed Xbox. He was a good friend of ours. He came to us and we expected nothing of him, but still he delivered so much. He brought us joy and he brought us closer to him and through him closer to all of our friends. And now, a word from a man who knew the Xbox very well, Jay Allard. Jay?
Well, what do you want to play? You want to play a mystery game? You want to play a physical game? You've got 3 crystals, that's 15 seconds in the dome.
Some emotional words there, and I'm sure we can all agree with those sentiments. Thank you, Jay. Would you please all open your hymn books to number 254 and sing If You Let Me Stay by Terence Trent D'Arby as we privately reflect on our time with the Xbox.
Xbox Essentials. Morrowind.
A console gaming revolution starring Cliff Racer.
Freedom Fighters.
The game whose name I'll utter on your deathbed.
Breakdown.
A lost masterpiece. It's like being inside a human body.
Stranger's Wrath.
Don't know, never played it.
Dreamfall.
An amazing story where you occasionally press a button.
Now it's time to see how our Shenmue 3 campaign is coming along. Let's go over to Mr. Joanne with the Shenmometer report.
Report, please.
Sorry, what? Is it happening now?
Oh, we've only got 40 seconds, hurry up.
It's still early days in the campaign, but there has been a noticeable swell of support for RAB and Shenmue 3 in the USA. However, there has also been some support for the Death to Shenmue side in Eastern Europe. Here are some opinions from the web.
Nick Tyndall wrote, I doubt this show with 2 overweight bald guys is going to help this game whatsoever. We, the fans, have already begged for this game to be released, and Sega know we're begging, so I doubt they're going to budge with these people.
Massive Invisible Dog said, Shenmue is shit.
Fuku-san from Argentina said, Thank you, Videogaiden. We will fight for our damn game. Gracias, Videogaiden. If this campaign helped to make Sega think in Shenmue 3, I will use a Scottish skirt during a year without underpants. I promise it. Thanks again.
All of which means RAB's head is bigger than Ryan's head. Sorry, higher.
Champions, man. Thanks, folks. Well, never mind that. There's Gordon Bennett, the classic video games character from Hover Bother. Is that Outlaw? He stole our lawnmower. That's ours.
I'm pissed off now. Let's go to one of the bits.
Games journalism. Games journalism's lying in a pool of its own blood somewhere in the west coast of the USA. Games journalism's gasping for breath, with mirrored shades on its fat face, a Bluetooth headset in its ear, and an iPod in its pocket. You remember Zap and Crash? These were magazines full of raw enthusiasm. These were games writers with zero pretentiousness, just guys who had passion for what they were doing. Honesty and passion. Simple stuff. Do you remember Amiga Power? Bold, creative, funny. Publishers hated it, PR people hated it, the guys down the police station probably called it crackerjack. Why? Because AP told the truth. Honesty and passion. Can it beat it? So why is games journalism choking on its own vomit while browsing YouTube for funny game mashup videos? Here's why. Games magazines have lost their way,
and those goddamn gaming websites are gaining more prominence.
Games magazine numbers are down. Fact. Why? Well, they don't inform anymore. They shill. It's all about who's got the biggest splash page featuring some space marine with a gun. It's all about who's using the biggest exclamation marks. Name them and shame them, Rab. Nah, I don't have to. Just look at your shelves. 95% of the magazines on the shop shelves are beyond hope. The rest of them, drowning under the shit tide. Edge magazine has a high standard of writing, but is a personality black hole. Games TM is enthusiastic, but much like an excitable child, it can often get too worked up and starts to spout gibberish and can shit itself in an embarrassing manner. Endgamer, one of the newer magazines out there, is our last best hope. A throwback to the good old magazines of yesteryear. It's got a big grin on its face and it's beating its own plonker against its chest, screaming, "Games, games, 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 games!" The trouble is, everybody with an internet connection thinks they're a games journalist. The truth is, most of them can't write, and most of the rest are brainless, gumming yes men. Hacks who are happy to bend over just for the promise of a free promo game or an invite to some industry shindig with a poncy finger buffet and some twat for Sony in a tuxedo giving a speech and a performance for the delectable Girls Aloud. Here's one now.
Dude, like, I write for the American Games website Electric Douche. I like anything my boss tells me to like. I ain't gonna rock no boat.
We're accepting a lower standard of games writing because we're cheap. Gamers are cheap. And if we can get our news and reviews for some corporate website for free, we'll take it and we'll swallow it up and love it.
Games journalism is lying on the west coast of the USA with a defibrillator on its chest and weeping brown regret for its arse. Huge corporate American websites are filling the web with inane chatter, half-formed opinions and embarrassing lifestyle-orientated PR spin. And all the while they're backed by money men who are selling advertising. Money men who secure the news first and give it away for free. But honesty and passion never wears a suit, folks.
Honesty and passion never wears a suit. I can go with that. Cheers. The Russians made Pathologic, and you know what Russians are like? Unfathomable.
That's no true. The guy in Red Alert was totally fathomable.
See this game? It looks terrible, it plays awkwardly, it's poorly translated, and yet it's amazing.
You're talking like you're poorly translated.
I know it sounds crazy, but this game's terrible. And yet it's also really important, magical and brilliant. I love it. It's a shambles.
Look, explain yourself.
Well, imagine David Lynch's mind was trapped inside a Breville toaster and he was trying to direct his greatest ever film, but he could only fire cheese toasties out of his face.
This is the worst 1 minute review I've ever heard. Let me out.
No, wait. Pathologic is a game for a bunch of geniuses, a bunch of cracking storytellers. And yet it's been made by a horse, hooves everywhere, flapping at code.
Right, that's enough. Go on, explain to me why the words coming out of your mouth aren't matching the pictures on the screen.
Because behind the mess, this game's on a different level. It's intelligent, disturbing, but like a wee baby bird, it's as fragile as glass wind made of straw.
Absolutely unfathomable.
Hello and welcome to the Eternal Pixel. My name's Kevin Leddens, new school journalist, yeah? And I'm joined tonight by Guardian columnist Margaret Rutherford and feminist writer Douglas Trench. Tonight we're going to be looking at Game On, a tome of video game analysis by a veritable triforce of game scribes, the Right Honourable Byron, Curran and McCarthy. Margaret, obvious question. Is this the kind of thing that Jean-Michel Basquiat would have had on his shelf?
Well, I don't know about him, but I really enjoyed it. It's a good read. I love the fact it's completely unpretentious. It's like reading 50 straight old-fashioned games reviews. It's all about the games. It's not about the authors.
Yeah. Well, my problem with the text is that it's lacking so many important Neolithic games. Where's Theme Hospital, for example, with its satire on the NHS under Conservative rule? Where's Dungeon Keeper with its commentary on the fetishistic nature of man, his obsession with all things dirty and base, his desire to dominate women?
No, hold on. I think the authors should be
applauded for avoiding the use of misogynist subtext, not derided for it.
But that's my problem. Why write a thing about the 50 greatest games of all time if you're only going to talk about the games? I mean, there's nothing in here about, for example, Mario 64, great game, yeah, but nothing about the sub-dom-dom relationship between Peach, Mario and Bowser.
Oh, come on, I hardly think Mario is dom.
Look, I'm sick of you constantly sexualising Princess Peach. That's no right.
Let's change tack here, yeah? Margaret, these writers are telling us the 50 greatest games of all time, but what does this work tell us about Simon Byron's school days? I mean, which of these articles are refracted through the lens of the author's childhoods?
Good to say, absolutely none of them.
But games are an extension of us, Margaret, us. We are the apes, right? And the apes are interfacing with these new technologies and apes are learning. It's making the apes think. So what are these three apes telling us about their lives through the medium of games writing?
Look, Ledens, it's just a good book to read on the toilet pan. It's just good.
Yeah, thanks for that. We're going to listen to a little excerpt from Game On, read by yours truly in a darkened basement. I still hear the screams, actually. We got a lot of fan mail about this segment last week. We thought we should give you a little bit of background, a bit of an explanation about what it's all about. Back in the 1940s, when me and Ryan were still alive, we used to watch this documentary show about video games.
It was a tough time in the 40s. There was a war on, and myself and Robert were on the run from the Navy.
And I believe this episode we're about to watch is the same one we watched on that fateful night the boat sank.
I don't think we should be covering that.
No. Let's do a reconstruction of what happened that horrible, horrible night.
Oh, Jurassic Park Interactive.
Exciting.
We're going to be in a world of dreams shortly.
This is on the 3D, wasn't it?
Aye, it was.
Remember all the merchandising?
No, aye.
Who's that?
I don't know. Well, it's the actors at the film, isn't it?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What are you talking about?
What is this?
Shusha stories happening. There's Sam Neill.
Laura Dern, right?
Huh? Jeff Goldblum put a beef on me. Hey, shush, Mon, I said that, Mon, dinosaurs are happening. Oh, here we go.
Who's that?
So you're buying a dinosaur game, you're buying Jurassic Park Interactive, you know what I mean, based on a wonderful movie. this is what you're playing. That's not fair,
This is the game as well, isn't it?
Well, no,
these are the selected bits. This is
you
actually...
remember this bit of the film? You remember batting an egg at a dinosaur?
See, you know what that is? That's the bit where it's reflected in the kitchen. That's what it is. That explains it.
This is just that Dreamcast game, Cosmic
He's
Smashing.
He's enjoying it. Anyway, that guy on the right, he's enjoying it.
He's trying to escape for the game. Is it? Oh man, when dinosaurs ruled the earth.
Oh dear.
Here, I want to dance to some Blue-Eyed Soul with Socrates, the game's criticism robot.
All right.
Here he comes, and my boy. Oh, a whole of notes tonight.
Oh, great taste.
Socrates, you're my favourite. You shouldn't be wasting your time in this business.
Oh, what's he got?
Oh, this week Socrates wants us to play Clock Tower 3 on PlayStation 2. It's Hall & Oates time. Come on.
Gaiden.
We all loved Duke Nukem, didn't we? I think it was the name, actually. There should have been more names like that in games. Oh, Duke Nukem, Pete Beat 'em, Rab Stab 'em, Dick Kick 'em, Rob Knob 'em, Buck Rogers.
The reason why I think Loco Roco should be in is because it amuses me thinking about how the Japanese pronounce it. It'd be all Rocco. That's maybe a bit racist, that one. We should cut that. Listen, you can argue about which next-gen console you want the most until forever, if you like. But if it's games with really huge environments you're after, your old Xbox 360 has you covered. I think the prospective releases must be getting measured by the kilometre these days. So Just Cause from Avalanche Studios must have got 2 50-mile-high thumbs up for Dark Lord Gates when he saw it. Stick Just Cause in your video game playing contraption for the first time and there's a good chance you'll inhale all the air in your bogging wee bedsit in one breath. At least that's what happened to me. Within 5 minutes of starting, I'm figuring I can just set fire to all that other rubbish I considered games for so long, because this is exploding in my face the same way you explode over that porn site when your maw's away to the bingo. Before you settle in for a session of extreme one-player pleasure though, give this game a while longer. Last year on this show I played a game called Gun for the 360. It was really terrible, and while I was playing Just Cause I kept having flashbacks to that rubbish because this makes similar mistakes. In this, you're Rico Rodriguez, a super soldier, killing machine, stuntman, CIA agent or something. But your environment employs the increasingly popular sandbox style of play, whereby you have a huge area to explore and can sustain your play not just moving through the main quest, but by playing through optional submissions and the like. It's getting to the stage now I just want to fire Grand Theft Auto out of a cannon for what it's inspired.
You haven't lost that killing field.
Yes, one major problem with Just Cause is that this nicely turned out island of San Esperito is flipping enormous, but it's also enormously vacuous. I don't mean it's underpopulated. There's as many glitchy, idiotic South Americans as you could ever hope for. No, what I'm saying is the developers were so knackered after spending 6 months putting in the 5 billion trees there are on this island that they couldn't really be bothered developing any decent ideas for side quests. All you get is racing sections where you're racing against a time limit, not another car, and liberation and drug cartel attack missions, which are essentially the same bloody thing. Every bloody time. This is what it's like. I'll show you. I'm running! Look at me! I'm Rambo! God, the combat. Utterly pathetic. Everything's all smoothed out for you. Pulling stuff off in Rico's stunt mode is ridiculously easy, and there's a bloody auto-locking system for targeting your idiot enemies. The most intense action this effort can throw at you, and I'm sitting thinking, I could play this with my eyes shut. Everything in this game is so dumbed down, you could give it to somebody in a coma and they'd finish it in 10 hours. Here's the deal. I tried with this game, I honestly did, but it just gives you so little to work with. I ended up just begrudgingly forcing myself to finish the main quest as quickly as possible, just so it was over. Admittedly, as brief as the main story is, at least it's something to do. If I had to say something polite about this game, it would probably be... oh, suspension of disbelief though, eh? Like the hacks have said. Even with its generous targeting system, Just Cause manages to badly miss its mark. All that being said though, I'm dead slow at finishing games, so this has already been out for 2 months and it's topped the 360 charts. So well done, Avalanche Studios. I give this game a videogaiden official rating of 9 out of 5. Just Cause, just buzz me like.
Well, peoples, that's the end of the beautiful experience for another week. Thanks for all your lovely comments about last week's show.
And remember and play Clock Tower 3 like Socrates told you. Don't make him cry, he rusts.
Cardboard doesn't rust. Hit it.
Okay. Just the white buttons, aye.
Don't interrupt me, please. If you don't like me, if you're the BBC, if you don't like him, there's no point in you hiding. If you don't like games, the tune. If you don't like GIF, you probably can't stand video guiding. Crap. Oh well.